if you're looking at being a startup that wants to serve 10,000 businesses, your compliance structure should be one that could easily be reconfigured to be able to carry 10,000 businesses.
Hey, welcome to the FinTech Frontlines by Kora. This podcast is a collection of timeless ideas on how to build, launch, and operate a fintech in Africa from the most experienced minds in African fintech. In this episode, Sydney, lead compliance at Kora, discusses how to build scalable compliance processes. He talks about building a compliance system for where you want to be in the future, not where you are at the moment.
So for startups, right, like I explained before, whatever you're building, the compliance program you're building should not be built with regards to where you are, or where you're looking at being, or where you're looking at going to. If you're looking at being a startup that wants to serve 10,000 businesses, your compliance structure should be one that could easily be reconfigured to be able to carry 10,000 businesses. I think one of the big problems we have is, I think this is also, I've seen this in a few established fintechs as well. You build out a compliance program in terms of your tools, your personnel, and everything. And that program just meets the need of your current reality, right? By the time you expand, and as we all know, fintech is one which will go rapidly. And before you are able to adjust, there are so many problems, you have fines, regulatory challenges. And so I think for every team, every person that's trying to build a compliance team, always try to build something that will stand the test of time. Right? So anything you're building, there are standard processes, there are standard things. Make sure you factor those things before you actually scale. And then when you scale, I think something that you should watch, like Nelson said, is the problem of over-compliance. It's very important to remember that you should leave that space for wonder, that space for innovation. So don't just try to always have context. I would say, as a business, if you're working for a fintech, it's always in business. So make sure you know who your customers are rather. Understand the needs of your customers. When you understand them, that will inform your choice of how you scale, how you grow, how you build what you want, right? So as a scale and grow. So in your growth stage, right, there are a lot of there's so much fast-paced activities, there's so much things that you need to do. If at the beginning of your building the product, you didn't make room for configuration, the ability to easily tweak and reconfigure your system, there is going to be that issue that will not allow you to expand. And then I think something that I would advise most fintechs to have is understanding what's required of you. And so at the early stage, you can just adhere to the basics, have your AML program, just like what is globally accepted, and at least on the very, very, very of what is accepted in your local region. But as you go, it's very good to get into the detail of what your local regulators would really want you to have. And I think many times when businesses try to scale to other countries, there's that risk of compliance is compliance. Let us just try to manage it. It's important to have local experts in wherever it is you're going. So as you scale, try to get compliance personnel who have specialized skills. So if you're going into, say, a country, Africa, even if you don't want to have that person as a full-time employee, you can look at, okay, how do we explore consulting? You get somebody like that breaks down what is needed in that space, and then you build. Right? You also want to look at specialization of, okay, it's not about just compliance. Compliance is such a very broad word. You want to also have special people for each part of compliance. So, okay, now the product that I'm trying to build is one that would typically interact with maybe a particular class of clients, and we need probably generate a lot more, maybe alerts or something. So you need maybe somebody that would monitor transactions closely. If it's something that would, a product that would probably lead to having increased fraudulent activities or maybe chargebacks, something, you need somebody who would be an expert in chargebacks, compliance team and all. So basically just get experts, get specialists as you scale.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the FinTech Frontlines. For businesses that are bullish on Africa, Kora provides all the support you need to start and scale with delightful payment products for collections, payouts, and settlements. Learn more at korahq.com.